My name is Carolyn. My daughter is Olivia, and I adopted Olivia on November 29th, 2022. And she's in full toddler mode at this point, so we're really excited about that. My fertility journey started when I was diagnosed with the BRCA2 gene, which puts me at a higher risk for breast and ovarian cancer. So I had a conversation with my gynecologist about, fertility, because the recommendation is by the time I turn 45 to remove my ovaries and uterus to reduce my cancer risk. So at that time I was 41 and started having conversations about fertility. I looked into freezing my eggs, which I did, and I looked into sperm donation. But unfortunately, there was not a lot of Black sperm donors in the various sperm banks across the country. And some people end up being successful down that route, but I just got really stressed about it and decided to pivot. And my sister and I were on vacation in Cancun, or Cabo actually, and she found an article on Facebook from a woman named Rochelle Carey. It was in Essence magazine, and it told her story of adopting her son at the age of 49 as a single Black woman. And that's when I contacted Rochelle. She referred me to a couple of her adoption agencies. At the time, the agencies she used weren't taking on new clients. And then I ended up contacting a few coworkers who told me about Gladney, but that was how my journey started. So I would say cultural roadblocks more so around me being single. Like I mentioned, it was just about, there are some agencies that want you to be married. And I would say, although, so in the African American community, we do adopt more so informally, right? So you may have a cousin that may live with a family member, or you have different situations where you end up having extended family living with immediate family, etc. It may not be as formal as an actual adoption. The idea of private adoptions was not something that I was aware of until I started looking down this path and hearing Rochelle's story, and then kind of looking around me and realizing, oh wait, there are more people that do private adoptions, but not so much in the African American community. I really wanted to publicize our story so more Black families can understand that this is an option. I remember when I filled out the original application, I think I put no for everything. I'm like, no drugs, no alcohol use, no nothing, because I didn't know, right? And you hear different things. So what I appreciate about Gladney is the access to, I think there was, in the portal, there was an access to a pediatrician who walked us through, okay, these are the impacts of different types of drugs, different types of alcohol, because you just don't know. There's a lot of stereotypes and a lot of misinformation out there. So for me, there was a lot of things that I checked that I said willing to discuss. And I think for me, that helped me open up more to the process, because seeing something on paper and hearing somebody's story is completely different. I'll give you an example. Hearing that somebody might have smoked marijuana during their pregnancy, if you see that on paper, it's like, oh my gosh, especially if you don't engage in those activities. But talking to a doctor, I have a friend that's a pediatrician that I call to say, hey, this potential birth mom might have done opiates or whatnot. What's the impact to the baby? And then having those educated conversations and making a decision that fits for me and what I'm willing to take a risk on was the best thing I could have done. And I did open up after I got the feedback on my application saying, Carolyn, you're not gonna be able to get a baby if you put no for everything. But having those educated conversations really helped. But I would say for a single person looking into this journey, make sure that you have a village support and also financial support as well, to make sure, because it's all on you, right? So just ensure that you have that support, and that way it can minimize stress, because parenting is stressful. Things are going to happen, but if you can minimize as much as possible, that would be the best course of action. What was surprising to me about the adoption process is how quick it went. My caseworker told me, oh, it could be maybe about a year or two. And she called me about another prospective adoption, I would say maybe 2 or 3 weeks after my profile book went live. And that was my alarm bell that, oh wow, this can go a lot quicker than I thought. So I would say how fast the process moved, and also how easy it was. The day of placement was a beautiful day. It was awesome. There were a lot of tears, and tears of pain on one side and joy on the other, but at the end of the day, we came together as a family. What I would say to parents who are hesitant about relationship with the birth mom, adoption is not like a Lifetime movie. I think there's a lot of stigma around adoption, that people feel like, oh my God, if I get in touch with the birth mom, she's gonna try to come and steal the baby. I cannot tell you how many people ask that question. You keep in touch with the birth mom? What if she shows up to your house and takes Olivia? And having to dispel those myths of, no, she chose me as Olivia's mother, and we have a great relationship. And when Olivia gets older, the more people Olivia knows that love her, the better. The adoption process has been it's been a transformative journey for me. I've always considered myself to be very just safe and follow the rules, and I took a little bit of a risk with this. You know, it's adoption, it's an open adoption, it's forging a new relationship with a child that you don't know, and it's a birth mom that you don't know, and you hope for the best, and I got the best. I have the best adoption story ever, I think. I have the best baby ever. It's just been such a beautiful journey. Adoption is opening your heart to possibly the greatest love you've ever known. And when I think about Olivia, Evelyn, her family, my family, and how Olivia has changed our lives for the better, it's not about, I think people shape adoption as, oh, you've rescued a child, or you've done something so good. No, that child has rescued us.